This is the true story of Ellie Butler, and I want you to remember this number: 9. 9 separate warnings, 9 cries for help that were ignored. By the end of this, I want you to ask yourself, who in your mind bears the ultimate responsibility for her death? It's a story with a beginning so shocking, a middle so infuriating, and an ending so tragic that it sparked national outrage. Before starting the video, please subscribe to our channel. Our channel is new. We've uploaded many true crime cases, but our channel is still small. We need your support. Please subscribe to our channel, and also watch our chilling stories like Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, and Tinder Date with Killer. These type of videos blow your mind. Part 1: The First Fracture. Our story starts not in 2013, but in 2007. Ellie Butler was just 6 weeks old. Her father, Ben Butler, had a history, not of minor offenses, but of brutal violence. On a seemingly ordinary day, he shook his infant daughter so violently it caused catastrophic brain injuries, multiple fractures, and retinal hemorrhages. This was no accident. This was a textbook case of shaken baby syndrome. Ellie miraculously survived, but her life course was altered forever. Ben Butler was convicted of child cruelty, and here's the first critical decision. Ellie was placed in the care of her maternal grandparents, Neil and Linda Gray. For the next 5 years, Ellie flourished. Her grandparents were her rock, her safe harbor. They were officially granted special guardianship. In the eyes of the law and of life, they were her parents. She was happy, loved, and safe from the man who had almost ended her life. The case was, for all intents and purposes, closed. The system had worked, or so it seemed. But Ben Butler, along with Ellie's mother Jenny Gray, were waging a war in the family court. They wanted Ellie back. They launched a relentless legal campaign, arguing they were reformed, that the initial injury was a terrible accident, and that the grandparents were alienating Ellie from them. Now here's where we encounter our first major twist. The professionals involved, Ellie's social workers from Sutton Council and an independent children's guardian appointed by the court, were adamantly opposed to her return. They saw Ben Butler for what he was, a high-risk, violent man with deep-seated anger issues. But in 2012, family court judge Mrs. Justice Hogg made a ruling that would send shockwaves through this case and through British legal history. Judge Hogg looked at the evidence, looked at Ben Butler, and called him, and I quote, a changed and changing man. She dismissed the unanimous concerns of the child protection experts. She criticized the grandparents' bond with Ellie as too intense, and she ordered that 6-year-old Ellie be torn from the only home she'd ever known and handed back to her biological parents. The transition was to happen in just 2 weeks. Let me pause here. Put yourself in the grandparents' shoes. You have raised this child from infancy. You saved her. You know the predator she's being sent to live with. And a judge tells you that you are wrong, that you must let her go. What would you do? The law gave them no choice. Part 2: The 11-month countdown. In November 2012, a sobbing, terrified Ellie Butler was removed from her grandparents' arms. The trauma of that day was just the beginning. For the next 11 months, Ellie lived in a private hell, and the warnings began almost immediately. This is where that number, 9, comes into brutal focus. Neighbors reported hearing constant, terrifying screams from the apartment, a child crying for hours, sounds of violence. Ellie's school became a front line. She started arriving dirty, hungry, in unchanged clothes. She came to school with bruises on her face, her arms. She told her teachers a direct, chilling story. My daddy got angry and hit me. She drew those pictures. The monster, labeled it Daddy. A teaching assistant so concerned considered driving Ellie to the social services office herself. The school's head teacher made official referrals. Multiple times. A GP saw bruises and noted concerns. Even a private social worker, hired by the parents themselves, raised alarms about Ben Butler's aggression. 9 distinct, documented red flags, each one a scream for help from Ellie or from an adult witnessing her decline. And what was the response from Sutton Council's social services? Catastrophic failure. Reviews described it as ineffective, reactive, and overly optimistic. They seemed paralyzed, perhaps by the weight of the judge's ruling, perhaps by sheer incompetence. They took weeks to follow up on urgent reports. They accepted the parents' glib excuses. She's clumsy, she fell. They failed to look because they didn't want to see what the judge had told them not to see. The system was now complicit. On October 28, 2013, the inevitable, preventable horror occurred. Ben Butler flew into a rage because Ellie had misbehaved. He delivered a blow to her head so violent it was compared to the force of a high-speed car crash. It shattered her skull. Little Ellie Butler was dead. And what Ben and Jenny do next? They didn't call an ambulance. They concocted a lie. They claimed Ellie had fallen from a stool while reaching for a cereal box. They even staged the scene. It was a clumsy, callous cover-up that quickly unraveled under forensic scrutiny. Part 4. The Aftermath and a Legacy of Failure. The trial was a searing indictment. Ben Butler was found guilty of Ellie's murder and sentenced to a minimum of 23 years. Jenny Gray was convicted of child cruelty and perverting the course of justice for her part in the cover-up. But the real trial was of the system itself. A serious case review later laid bare a catalog of failures. It concluded that Ellie's death was both predictable and preventable. The family court judge had made a grave error based on a flawed assessment of Ben Butler. Social services had been ineffective and reactive, missing chance after chance to save her after she was returned. Communication between agencies was abysmal. Every safety net had a hole. Ellie's grandfather, Neil Gray, became a tireless campaigner for family court reform, arguing that the rights of dangerous parents were too often placed above the rights of the child to be safe. His pain is a lasting monument to a little girl who was failed at every single turn. So what is the story of Ellie Butler? It is the story of a legal system that gambled with a child's life and lost in the most horrific way possible. It is a masterclass in how bureaucracy, professional deference to a flawed court ruling, and sheer negligence can create a perfect storm. A judge saw a reformed man. Social workers saw a case they'd lost. But nobody truly saw Ellie, the little girl trapped in a house of horrors, drawing pictures of the monster, waiting for someone, anyone, to keep the promise they had all made to protect her. Her death was not a sudden, shocking event. It was the slow, ticking countdown of a tragedy foretold. It forces us to ask, when evidence of danger is crystal clear, how much weight should be given to a parent's right over a child's right to simply survive? Ellie Butler's name should be a rallying cry for vigilance, for listening to the frontline workers who see the bruises, and above all, for remembering that the most innocent voices are often the ones we are most determined not to hear. If this story has left you angry and heartbroken, if you want to hear more deep dives into true crime stories that expose the fractures in the world around us, make sure you are subscribed. Let us know in the comments, what part of this systemic failure shocks you the most?